Yo, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another Forsaken video. In this guide today we have John Doe and how you can play him like a competitive player. If you like these kind of guides, make sure you like and subscribe, it helps the channel out a ton. I'm going to put the timestamps on screen for you guys right now if you want to skip to a specific part of the video, but if you're already ready, then let's just hop right into it. So there are actually two ways you can play John Doe, and that is by being a trapper or a sniper. So starting off with trapper here, the main way you want to play with your spikes is when you see a survivor in an awkward corner of the map, you use your spikes to cut off their exit so that the only possible way to run is right back into you. As you can see with that chance, he could only run towards me. And with this Shedletsky right here, you can see I'm cutting off the way into the grassy area, and the only way to run is right back to me, which means he's going to be completely cooked. Now, Trapper is my favorite way to play, and in my opinion, the better way to play, because it's a lot more consistent. If you see someone in a bad corner, you can easily trap them like you see here, and if they try to run into your trap, well, they're just dead, and if they run back into you, then you get a couple free hits, almost guaranteed. It's also worth noting that if your spikes do not end up working out in trapping someone, the people that you tried to trap have burned so much stamina trying to avoid it that you're going to be at a huge stamina advantage as well. Like if people realize you're trying to trap them, then you can immediately catch up to them because they burned at least 40 to 60 stamina avoiding your trapped area, in which case you will catch up and get some free hits regardless. When it comes to Sniper John Doe, I'm going to put it in tandem with Error 404 because you're almost always using your Error 404 right before your spikes when it comes to being a sniper. That's because if a survivor goes behind a wall or somewhere where you can't see, you can still use your spikes to track them perfectly. And being a sniper John Doe is all about doing maximum damage because your spikes do a lot of damage. So if you hit like 2 to 5 of them, you're going to shred a survivor apart. It's also very important to note that you need to be able to distinguish when you should be one or the other. When do I be a trapper and when do I be a sniper? Usually you're using snipers in open areas or when you're completely out of stamina and have almost no options left. That's when I personally like to try to play as a sniper because there's no way to be a trapper. There's just literally no way. But if you are able to distinguish these two methods of playing and add them together in one match, then you will start becoming a much better John Doe with your spikes because you know when you can cut survivors off and you know when you can just get some chip damage in because John Doe is very slow, so it's hard to actually catch up to people. Digital footprint is the most straightforward and easy to understand. If you've played John Doe, then you easily know what you're supposed to do with these, and it doesn't change even at the highest level. You're just supposed to put them at the easiest loopable spots on the map, or the most prime loop spots, so you can cut those areas off for the survivors so they can't use them anymore. And that's really all there is to digital footprint. Even at the high skill ceiling, is just remove the loop spots from the survivors. That's really all you're supposed to do with these. There's nothing else to really talk about there. If you want to say a little extra use for them because sometimes there's only two or one or two spots to put your traps that will eliminate the best loop, then you could also put them in pretty unexpected spots like at a corner so the survivor has to loop the corner super wide to get around your trap, or inside of a loop so that the survivor doesn't even notice that the trap is there before it's too late. But it's pretty straightforward. Put them at the best loop spots, and honestly, that's just that. So right off the bat here, I've spawned in and put my traps on one of the entrances to one of these loops, and honestly, Horror Hotel is kind of bad for John Doe when it comes to this, because you can just loop the entire map, so it doesn't really matter where you place your traps, they can be avoided super easily. But I immediately start going in for the Shedletsky, and I have a lot of stamina, so I don't try to use my spikes here because I have a lot more stamina to burn, and it's really not worth trying to put everything into my spikes immediately because if you're on medium stamina and so is the survivor, then they can just outpace your spikes and run away from where you're trying to trap them or something of the sort. So I keep trying to loop them around because this Shedletsky is low, and now I'm almost gassed out, so I try to use my sniper hit here and pretty much cut myself off, so I use the speed I got from the hit to go for Dusakar instead. And the guest does read my attack and punches me out there. But next up, I see this Dusakar is here, so I'm like, okay, I can trap them here. But the Dusakar reads my intentions and runs away, so I immediately switch to a sniper mentality and get some hits on the Shedletsky, who was already low from before. And then I immediately start chase with Shedletsky since you get speed from hitting your spikes, and the Shedletsky was already pretty low on stamina, so I get the double hit on them and take them out. Immediately, I'm going to wait for my stamina to go back to full before I start my chase. That's especially important when it comes to slower killers like John Doe. I use my 404 to see where they are, and immediately go for a trap here. I do end up hitting someone. I really don't know how those spikes hit. But I dodged this beam here because the Dusakar was winding it up, and I still have speed from hitting my spikes, so I catch up to the Dusakar pretty quickly here. And he's in a corner and has nowhere else to go, so I can regain most of my stamina and just immediately keep at it. I don't need to use my spikes here because, of course, the Dusakar is already low on stamina, low on health, but I do anyway because they do outpace me here and I do get a nice little sniper kill there. And if it wasn't a sniper kill, if you didn't notice, I actually would have trapped them. So either way, that Dusakar was completely dead. I do end up finding the rest of the players right here in my room of traps, and this noob was not prepared for that. Someone runs away and steps into my trap because they didn't know it was there, so I immediately get to 4-shot the noob and just immediately drop them. And since it worked once, I thought might as well do it again. I'll just put my trap here. This map does kind of suck for John Doe, but hey, this noob used slate skin and walked through the trap, but they did not realize that you get slowness for a long time when stepping through a trap, so they also immediately go down. Because if someone gets slowed, then just go for him, man. But the guest pushes me away so that my trap cannot fully cover the exit there, so I immediately start going for guest, and he thought I was going to trap him here, but I went for a sniper attack instead because he was just gaining all of his stamina back. So I keep chase because I'm already super close. He's already been hit a ton. I lag a little bit, which leads me to get stunned by Shedletsky, but it's no problem at all. I just keep tracking the guest down by cutting him off when he least expected it, gain a little bit of my stamina, and continue the chase. And now I know he's super low on stamina. I know he's going to block. He does, and I get a free hit on him. I know he's still low on stamina, so there's not much he can do, and he does gas out, and I finish him off. I'm moving on to these last two people now, and putting a trap in a little bit of an unexpected spot. Pretty decent spot right there in the corner for Horror Hotel. I only use my 404 for vision here because I didn't know where they were at because Horror Hotel, again, is pretty bad. I want to see if I can trap Shedletsky here just to see if my spikes really do reach, and they actually do. Shedletsky thought he could get through this little gap, but he cannot, so Trapper John Doe, as you can see right there, he has no chance and just gets dropped for 4 hits in a row. Because if you get a good trap John Doe, a good trap on a survivor, then they literally cannot do anything about it. They will die. Now I know Noob is in this corner, so I trap the exit of the ball pit so he can't go out from that way. So he tries to come my way, of course, leading to him getting hit twice, hitting thrice, and I know he's in a slate skid, but I keep attacking here just so he keeps stepping in my trail, so he takes some passive damage. And of course, because I was starting the chase right next to him, I catch up to him, and that's game. A lot of good trapping examples here, but let's move on to the next game. Once again, we've immediately spawned in, and I am trapping both of the entrances to the only loop in this map, really. This is basically the only loop in this map, so I trap both entrances immediately, and I am off to the races. I immediately see an AFK chance, so I get a free hit on him, but he does end up coming back, but I see a Taff putting something down, and I get another free hit on him, because why not? This noob has no idea what's going on, so of course I'm going to immediately drop him pretty quickly here. He's already low. I'm super ahead of him on stamina, so it's just a matter of time, which it is. And the chance, I realized the chance was going to shoot there, but I knew I would kill the noob first and get iframes for it. So the chance is my next target here, and I cut him off into this corner and use my Trapper John Doe ability to make sure he's in this corner. He has nowhere to go, there's nothing he can do, so he immediately gets double tapped and killed. And now, right now, I am seeing that there are some people in a pretty bad corner here, and an AFK Taff, which is always nice. So I get the hit on the AFK Taff, and then trap this person up top in that bad area. It's another Taff, actually. So I break his strip mine, I break his trap, and he didn't even realize he was trapped. As you can see, this is why Trapper John Doe is such a good way to play. He didn't even realize that he had nowhere to go until it was too late, so I just completely destroy him. finish off the AFK taff, and now there's only 2 left already. This was a really fast game, if you couldn't tell, because on this map, this is one of John Doe's best maps. We went from one of his worst to his best. I see someone in this corner, which is also extremely trappable, and I do, and I also end up getting a hit on him, which is just the cherry on top. He doesn't realize that this area is trapped, so he has to run back into me, take a hit, take another hit, take a third, and he's right there for the killing, and a pretty good drop. Now we're moving on to the LMS here, and I'm realizing that the 007, he's like, oh, well, he's moving to the same spot, so guess what I'm going to do? I'm just going to trap the same spot again, because, well, there you go. But what I didn't realize is that I didn't actually trap it, so I was like, oh, whoops. But if I had trapped it there, the 007 would have been completely done for, completely screwed. But I'm just waiting until this person gets into a spot that I can spike once again. But I do end up catching up and getting a hit. But I realize they're in a spikeable location once more, so I trap the right side of their exit here, and they have no choice but to come back into me right here. And they end up taking a hit for it, taking a second hit for it. They didn't even realize that that starter area was trapped, so they get completely finished off. 2 really good examples of trapper games. So loading into this 1v1, I'm immediately trapping this one spot right here, because this cuts off this whole side of the map entirely, and everyone knows that. Like, that spot is where you always trap as John Doe on this map, but he does something unexpected. He tries to start the match on this area instead of up at the backside of the castle, so I'm like, okay, I'm just going to start chase then. I don't need any extra spikes, I don't need any extra traps. If he's going to just start right here with me, then I might as well. I might as well just go for him. So I do end up getting a free hit here, and I am completely gassed out on stamina, so I'm waiting for the next chance I get to when he goes into a bad location, and here he goes, he does. He goes into a bad location, and he realizes I'm going to try to trap him, so he runs the other way, but that also means he has used a lot of stamina, so I'm going to catch up to him. It's a guarantee, because he used so much stamina to avoid my trapped area, that I catch up to him, get another free hit, and he tries to escape once more, but I am able to get another hit, and now I'm like, alright, it's about game over here. I'm going to catch up to him, and it's over. So I use spikes because we're both low on stamina, and they do end up smacking him in the face and getting me the W. So to recap everything we've done in this video, there are 2 main ways to play John Doe. That is being a trapper and being a sniper. When you're being a trapper, you are waiting for the survivor to get into an unoptimal corner or edge of the map where you can block off one of those exits of the map and force them to run straight back into you, where you will either just completely kill them or get 2 to 3 free hits in on them. And that is my favorite way to play because it's super consistent and super easy to pull off since you don't actually have to aim your spikes at anyone. But if you do want to try to become an aiming god, you can be a sniper John Doe, which is when you use your error 404 and go out of your way to snipe people with your spikes since they do so much damage, and giving you the speed 1 boost, which is also very good to get if you do get good enough at aiming. And when it comes to your digital footprint, of course, all you want to do is block off the best looping spots on the map, and that's about all you can really do with them. There are some really niche ways to use them, but ultimately blocking off the best loop spots is really just the best way to go about it. But thank you for watching this video. John Doe is a little bit of a more complicated killer, so if you want some extra advice on him, I would be more than happy to do so. But make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps a ton, and I will see you all in my next guiding video.